This is the Rank Amateur Podcast, number 3. Yep, this is the Rank Amateur Podcast. My name is John. My co-host's name is Ben. Ben, I have a question for you. Now that we are seasoned podcasters, how are you dealing with your newfound celebrity?
Well, I'm taking it one day at a time. I just tell the people to get in line, and I'll get to everybody when I can.
Yeah, it's all you can do, really. It's all you can do. Other than that, man,
No,
how's life? What's happening?
I can't complain, right? So work's going well. You've talked me into doing another one of these episodes, and our upcoming trip to the French Alps is just around the corner, so I'm getting excited.
Yeah, as that draws nearer, you spend a little more time each day on the Google searching and trying to figure out exactly what all that's going to look like. I've done a good job not focusing too much on it until now, but it did distract me for a good portion of today and just trying to figure out what my side trips are going to be. As we talked about last time, I'm not going to be on the slopes this time, but I think I've got a pretty good idea of how to spend the week um, when while you guys are either on the slopes or, like I said, when you guys are having rest days, we'll get together. You guys just pile in the vehicle, and we'll go do all the things. So it's going to be fun. Either way, we're going to be in a magical place with incredible scenery, with good people. So you can never go wrong there. But ample opportunity for all the adventures and just to have a good time and get out and be active. So it's going to be fun. Let's get right to it, man. What have we learned?
Well, so I don't have anything spectacular this week. I've been doing research on the trip, so I've been going down the rabbit hole looking at routes and different YouTube videos of skiing over in the various resorts that we're heading to. And I came across a video by a small YouTube channel, maybe less than 2,000 followers. Not really, I think it's more like a girls' trip and party on the mountain thing. But what I noticed about this video is that it had some overlays, some information about which lifts and their route from Morzine to Switzerland. So the YouTube channel is, I believe, Girl Going Global. So I really can't speak to any of the other content that they make, but this video was helpful. The video is called the Porto de Soleil circuit.
Yeah, and so this is the long circuit that connects all of the resorts that you referenced last time, right?
Yeah, so to see it, just to get a visual, right, and to see, more importantly, what these old school Swiss pull lifts look like before we get out there and get surprised.
Yeah.
It was just cool. It was helpful, and if you're ever heading towards this area to ski, you might want to check that video out.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So mine this week is a YouTube channel, website, a couple of creators called Bound for Nowhere. And if you're like most people and start to get the winter blues this time of year, this is a nice antidote to that. Now, I happen to love winter. It's kind of my favorite time of year, but Bound for Nowhere is just a great YouTube channel. It's this creative couple that have basically become professional overlanders or camper vanners.
Hmm.
And I would point specifically to their series where they're exploring Baja, Mexico, which is a place that I really yearn to spend some time in. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to pull off what these folks have pulled off, which is staying for a couple of months, sort of caravanning up and down the coast. As delightful as that sounds, I don't think that's ever going to be in the cards for me. But could I see myself spending maybe 10, 14 days there? Yes. And I can tell you, if you watch this series of films that they've created, you're going to feel the same pull to check out Baja, Mexico. So these are just, two, really creative young people that make beautiful films, great photography. It really just sucks you in. And it's almost kind of a real passive experience. They're not creating hard narratives that you've got to pay attention to. It's just nice to have on in the background while you're working. I watch it at the cabin a lot while we've got the fire going, and it's just Really nice channel, seem to be really great people, and it's just beautiful scenery, and they capture it in a really great way. So, what have I learned this week? Bound for nowhere. All right, so Ben, last week talking about Hot Passport, and you guys had planned to hit Milwaukee, I guess the day after, and you were going to hit a brewery. Whatever came of that?
Yeah, so if you recall, we were heading to Milwaukee, and a couple of breweries that we were going to had already popped up. So, we checked those out as well as a couple more. Got dinner, a couple of beers, was able to pay for one and get two. So, it worked. Pull out the app, easy as that.
That really reminds me of something. So you guys got a great deal on a couple of craft beers, right? So a two for deal. But
Hmm.
you also said that at one of these breweries, if correct me if I'm wrong, you guys had dinner?
We did.
Okay,
It
so
was
think
it
about
was
that.
really good.
Yeah, so think about the value from both sides of that transaction. You guys got a two for beer deal. Great. Now think about if you're a brewery owner and you're not yet partnered with the Hot Passport. Okay, so two out of towners were directed to your location. Yeah, you had to give them a two for deal on beer, but they also you guys stuck around, you had dinner, you spent a little money, right? And all it cost them was honoring a two for coupon. So not only is it a great deal for you guys, but it's a great deal for breweries because Hot Passport is the company that believes that you should drink local and that local is wherever you are. All right, Ben. Well, let's do the thing. Let's get into it here. So, I guess a couple weeks ago, it came up that you and I had taken our vehicles on a snow day up a mountain trail. It was a fun day. It was a fun experience. About half a day in the woods there. I don't think it was either of ours first time off road. It was our first time together, but it was also kind of probably the maybe diciest experience we've had off road. Would you agree with that?
I would. I would say it was just enough anymore. We wouldn't know what to do with ourselves.
Yeah, probably out of our depth a bit, literally, because those river crossings were kind of all we wanted, another inch or so of water, and it may not have turned out really well.
Yeah, and I think beyond that, it was, you add the weather, the fact that, we hadn't really been trained in recovery. So what if we did get stuck out there? It was, we pushed the limits that day.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't really I don't think we set out to do that, it's just kind of the way things came to pass, and I look back on it now, fond memory, glad we did it, but it kind of puts in mind concepts like preparedness, recovery, things like that. I know you've been down those rabbit holes lately. So, that experience kind of brought to mind what could be a good conversation here. So let's talk about our vehicles because you and I both have an off-road vehicle. We
Mhm.
both use them as daily drivers ish. You have a company vehicle, and so that's a daily driver for you as well. But these are primary or semi-primary vehicles for us. But we've also sort of accessorized and modified them in such a way to where, we can have some fun up in the mountains with them. So we thought we'd just talk about our vehicles, sort of catalog the accessories and the modifications we've made, sort of speak to why we've done that, then maybe talk a little bit about what our intention is here, right? How far we really want to take this. So if you're good with it, I'll ask you to kick things off. So you guys have a Jeep.
We do. So 2019 Jeep JL Wrangler four-door Sahara trim level. Bought it as a mall crawler. No lift, no tires, no nothing. We rode it fairly stock for a while.
Yeah.
And then slowly we started making small modifications, right? So, got a list here. We'll just kind of go down in no particular order. Some of them were a little less intricate than others, but, just listing what we've done here. So, um, we knew we bought a Jeep because we wanted to take the doors off. So, the first thing we needed to do, and we learned very quickly, is we need to put our feet somewhere. So, can't recommend this enough. It's a product by a company called Kickbacks, but it is a footrest rear view mirror integrated, and it does not require tools to install or remove. and it's the most robust and solid thing I've seen. So that helped us with a couple of aspects: where to put our feet and to see. With the Jeep JL, unfortunately, like unlike the Bronco, our mirrors are connected to the doors, so helped give us a little bit of safety.
Yeah.
From there, we wanted a different look on the wheels, so we went with a 17-inch, what they refer to or commonly refer to as a softy wheel. So a black, very non-flashy. It's kind of an old school look, and we at first had those on 33s, and most recently we did a couple of more significant upgrades. But that right there changed the look of the Jeep,
Yeah.
gave us a little wider stance, and and we rode that like that for about 4 years, 3 years. Then we moved into the good stuff, right? So we upgraded the tires. We went with 35-inch BFG KO2s. We bought 5 of them, unfortunately, but fortunately, the spare as well. From there, we also went ahead and added the bumper. So we went with a Rugged Ridge Argus or Arcus stubby front bumper. Got it on Amazon, uh, fairly affordable, but we wanted that stubby look. And this one's nice because if you look at these bumpers, a lot of times you'll have to buy aftermarket lights. These were able to incorporate the standard lights out of the factory bumper. So from there, the reason for the bumper purchase is to place a winch in it. So we went with a winch, 12,000 pound Badland Apex from the good old Harbor Freight.
Good old.
And I can tell you that this, we did a lot of research, big Warren fan, big student of buying once, crying once, buying quality, but this one had the reviews. This one matched up well with a lot of other options that were quite honestly $1,000 more. And so went with this one. It's worked well. We had it up there in the water at Coppinger Cove, and it's still functioning well. So that was a great one. We then wanted to get a little bit higher. Obviously, we couldn't put 35s on there and do much with it without a lift, so we went with the TerraFlex 2.5-inch suspension lift. Now that's going to give you 2.5 inches with a Rubicon trim level, but we actually saw 3.5 to 4, so we were very pleased with that kit. We got that installed at Tom's 4x4 Off Road here in Chattanooga. Real good guys. Go and see them; they know what they're doing. So a couple more accoutrements. On the outside, we put a Rocky Mounts backstage bike mount carrier or bike carrier, if you will. It's hitch mounted. With the Jeep, you'll need to look at the 8-inch extension with that. But that allows us to put the bikes on the back, swing it out of the way to get the Jeep door open. And then also we can drop it down. Really works when we put it on our trucks. Either one of our trucks allows us to open the tailgate. Really great carrier. Not cheap, but it's the thing about Rocky Mounts is it's got a connection system that allows it to not wobble. And if you've ever messed with bike carriers, they wobble.
Yeah.
So definitely look at that one. Now on the inside of the Jeep, just a couple of knickknacks, right? So we've got some fire extinguishers, a couple, I believe they're 6-pounders, with the holders that hold them, a couple of grab handles, so that you can get in and out a little bit easier. And then probably one of the most valuable things that we have in there would be our Garmin 67W dash cam. And this little guy has, within the service life we've been running it, we've already recorded some interesting things, including collisions, but it's just a peace of mind. And it also helps as a little travel cam or a little travel lapse thing as well, but activates on incidents. So if we were to get into a wreck, or if we were to maybe have the vehicle tampered with, it turns on. Great piece of kit. But that kind of rounds it out. I mean, as far as some things that we might have been looking at that we haven't done yet, we want lighting.
Okay.
Specifically A pillar, probably ditch lights, depending on if we do roof racks, maybe something that shines in the rear as well, for camping setups. But ditch lights for sure. And then, as with Coppinger Cove, the need for a snorkel became real. I thought it was always a joke. No, there's a real application for it. So, kind of playing around with that idea, but nothing planned out just yet.
Yeah, I can't
So
believe I'm saying this, but I mean, experience like that, I'm not gonna lie, I Googled "snorkel for Bronco." Now, I'm let me save you the suspense, I'm not doing it, but
Sure.
yes, I kinda get it because, like we've already said, the distance between what we experienced in Coppinger Cove and then the very next step to include a great deal more kit for your vehicle is pretty short. We took it to the line for what those vehicles will do. So if either of us want a next level, then we better be ready to accessorize even more.
That's right. That's my rig. What do you got on yours?
Yeah, I'll go through mine real quick and then we'll kind of sum it up and talk big picture just a little bit. But like you, we got the stubby antenna on the Bronco. Nobody needs that skinny thing wobbling around in the wind or in the woods. Now, let me say there's a cost to that antenna. Look, I don't know the last time I listened to FM radio, except that you were there. We were driving through the mountains trying to pick up a ball game. And frankly, the reception kind of sucked. And had suspected that if we had the old factory antenna on, maybe, we would have known the score. But
Well, but you wouldn't have looked as good.
that's right.
So
That's right. So,
there's that.
yeah, let- I'll take the looks, but just know there's a trade off. Uh,
That's right.
weatherproof seat backs. So, these are like a rubberized plastic Velcro stick-on that covers the entire surface of the seat back, and this is so
Okay.
when they're in lay down position, you don't have to worry about wet gear, wet dogs, or anything else, right? So, there's no fabric that's exposed anywhere in the Bronco. Console molly panels. This one has turned out to be pretty useful. And I keep finding things to attach to these panels, but basically in the front middle console down at your feet, so right there at your shins, these are molly panels that drape over that hump. And it was this wasn't just a click-in installation. We had to tap in with screws. Very easy to read instructions. It took me all of 15 minutes, but you get a little nervous when you're drilling holes in your ride. Nevertheless, it worked out just fine, and right now I clip on a travel dog bowl, like a water bowl for the dog. I've got a radio on that. It's where I store my sunglasses because the Bronco in my configuration doesn't have a sunglass cubby. So that's
You
really
got the soft
useful.
top. That's right.
Got the soft top. That's exactly right.
Well, if there's any consolation, we have a hard top, and ours doesn't have a cubby either. So I
Yeah.
feel your pain.
Yeah, but you gotta have somewhere to put your shades when the sun goes down, and it's frankly really annoying when you don't have it. So, purpose the Molly panel for that. Um, you're right. As you guys stated, half the reason you bought the Jeep was so you could take the doors off. I've come to realize how valuable that can be in the summer and just how fun that is. So we got foot pegs for the doorless configuration, paracord grab handles. Interestingly, I did not put a grab handle in my seat in the driver's seat because I don't want to get slapped in the face by the things every time I get in and out of the Bronco. But the other three passengers do have a paracord grab handle they can use to get in and out. Um, tailgate table. This is one that I thought I would use more than I have so far. Now, that's not to say it's not useful, but frankly, I haven't used that tailgate table, but maybe one time. Got to fix that this year, but just got to get ourselves in the right position to do that. This next one is the one that frankly makes my Bronco look, depending on what you think of it, the weirdest. But I have mounts on the hood of the Bronco for my fly rods. It makes the Bronco look like it has horns in the front. And so you just slide the rods down into the holder, you put a little cord around it, just tie it off, and then the rod shoots back up over the windshield and above the cab of the Bronco. And I really thought that kind of when the season was out that I wasn't going to the river very much, I would disassemble those and take them off. Haven't even bothered because why? But yeah, it does make the Bronco look a little odd if something like that bothers you, and I've just come to find out it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I think it looks kinda cool too.
Thank you. Mud flaps all around. The stock tires that come on a Sasquatch Bronco throw a lot of gravel, and it didn't take but just one time experiencing that to know that I was gonna have to have mud flaps. The highest ticket item that I have installed so far is the Kuat Pivot 2. So this is a big arm that goes in the hitch receiver, and then it folds in and out in the same direction as the tailgate. And then from there, you can install your bike rack on there. So similar to yours, it gives you the clearance beyond the spare tire, but also folds out so that you can open the tailgate without removing the bike rack. That I was lucky and found a unit on sale, which I think was pretty lucky because this is a newer model. May have been refurb, I'm not sure, but I got, I think, $100 off that thing, and so I went ahead and ordered it. It is incredibly useful when it's cycling season, and
Mm.
frankly, having to dismount a bike rack every time I wanna get in the tailgate would probably dissuade me either from cycling or from driving the Bronco. So, with that there, I don't give it a second thought. And that's the list for me. So, as I made this list, 2 impressions. In the last year, I've now that it's listed, I've done more to that Bronco than I had realized. Also, for the most part, there aren't big ticket items here. I haven't lifted it. I haven't put on new tires. The Kuat Pivot 2 is definitely the highest ticket item that I've installed, and it's not even a permanent fixture. It comes off and on as needed. But I have fairly significantly changed the experience of driving that Bronco just over time as I find an accessory I like, and I've installed it all myself. So I guess then the question is, what's to come? I haven't decided 100% on anything, but that model will fairly readily accept 37-inch tires.
Mhm.
So it feels like after I run through this first set that that would be kind of an obvious move, make it look a little beefier. I've seen Broncos with that done. It does look pretty good. It's proportional. You haven't made it look like Bigfoot. It doesn't look stupid or dumb. It looks kinda just about right. I'm kind of interested there. If you're going to do that, you don't have to lift the Bronco any further. However, if you're going off-road at all, it's a good idea to give it at least a 2-inch lift in order to prevent rub. So I would probably just do both at the same time. But again, that's not a decision I hope to make for a year or so because I'm gonna run through this first generation of tires and then see how I feel after that. So, big picture, Ben, from where you are now, what what range of activities? What are your plans for your Jeep? Why have you done what you've done, right? Are you going all the way? Are you entering competitions in Moab? Are we rock crawling here, or are we mall crawling? Where are you on that continuum?
I'd say I'm far from the pavement, but far from the competition. I'm trying to ride that middle. I'm trying to, get on those fire service roads, those moderate trails, uh, those pathways to get to that creek to pick up fly fishing or to get to that campsite. And I think as you look at being able to do these things, you need a certain level of capabilities, and obviously a little bit more here and there make things a little bit more palatable or more comfortable or more convenient. So, no, short answer is I don't see any trophies in my immediate or far future. That's not really the angle. Now, we want to get out there, but I think Coppinger and Cove and places like that, that's about as far as I want to get while the vehicle still has a payment on it or that I'm not trailering it to the trail.
Yeah.
So,
I'm about the same. Like if a 1 is grocery getting and 10 is extreme rock crawling, I can't imagine I'm more than a 4. I wanna be able to get in the woods. I wanna be able to accept it if it's rough, but This is really about accessing more places. That's what it's
Mhm.
about, right? So, I don't want to be stuck with a sedan and yearning to have fun in the Toccoa wilderness, right? I just want to
Right.
be able to say yes to the places I want to go. And if the places I want to go are higher or rockier or wetter or deeper than my Bronco will go, I'm happy to hike there. That's kind of how I feel about it. So, you and I have done some research on things like the fire service roads at the Toccoa Wilderness. We've looked at some overlanding in North Carolina.
Cohutta Wilderness.
That's right, Cohutta Wilderness. So that really seems like the level. We could say yes to any of that we've researched without, kind of getting somewhere and regretting we can't access it. And then, like I said, again, if we need to go half a mile or a mile from a campsite or a road, just strap a backpack on and let's go ahead and go. So that has always kind of been the goal, the ability to say yes to things, but I'm not looking to impress anybody. I'm not looking to start a YouTube channel over this. I just want to enjoy my time in the woods. And to that purpose, I see this vehicle as a tool, and that's it.
It seems to be we're coming from the same angle, but our vehicles aren't flashy. I believe they're tastefully done. Maybe that's a little bit biased, but I think we're just here to have a vehicle to get us to do the thing. It's not about the vehicle. So,
Look, for what it's worth, your vehicle looks great. I don't look at yours and think, this guy has adequacy issues.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's an important line to balance. We've rambled on long enough, and you know as well as I do, we are just here for the gear.
All right. So I've got to sing the praises of Gooder sunglasses. I'm far for the first person to discover these things, but once I did, I was done. I was no longer in the sunglass market. I had no more choices to make because I'm just going to cruise with Gooders for forever, as far as I'm concerned. This is a series of inexpensive plastic sunglasses that as I understand it, were originally made for joggers and runners. So they really, hug the face, hug your head. They don't really go anywhere. They fit my face really well, which, to be honest, can sometimes be a challenge. And they look good. So this is the ones that I like are just the Wayfarer style, right? Classic as far as my shades go. I just need something that's going to do the job and doesn't make me look like an idiot. The best thing about Gooders is they sell them at Ace Hardware. If if I can't find my shades, I really need some sunglasses, I can pop into an Ace and get the same pair that I've been wearing for the last year and a half, or try a new color because it's all the same, right? So Gooder sunglasses, I cannot recommend them enough.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's tough to find a glass that's affordable and that you're willing to wear out in public. And if you're like me, sometimes you lose glasses. I'm I've misplaced my Costas or one of the pairs recently here. So I wish that pair of glasses I misplaced was $30.
Yeah, man, and let me tell you, I mean, I went through a phase where there was this specific spec of Ray-Bans that I just liked. I'm not going to admit on this podcast how many times I lost that pair of glasses and replaced them. It's really an embarrassing number. And so, just suffice it to say, Gooders is a great solution for a lot of different reasons.
Very well,
What do you
very
got,
well. Well, so this week I'm gonna do in most instances another economical option in apparel, but we're gonna go with footwear. We're gonna go with the Columbia, who's obviously not known necessarily for footwear, but their boots. They make three versions. All versions are referred to as the Fairbanks. So you've got either a low, a mid, or a high. I got introduced to them with the high boot. It's a cold weather boot, and we were getting them when we were initially traveling to Wisconsin. But what really turned me on to this being something to talk about is the comfort. I mean, this is a boot that's built to hike, and the winter version is built to hike in the snow and frigid temperatures. Right? We're talking about, if you're familiar with Columbia, especially some of their apparel, they've got that reflective thermal insulation. The name is slipping my mind at the moment, but it's a proprietary blend. It works. I've got it in vests, and it's in this boot, and I can tell you it allows you to not need two socks. It's a boot that we wore when we were in Montana, and we're able to go snowmobiling for hundreds of miles a day. And so that really got me onto it. And then as my wife and as I wore a hole in those, I got different pairs and tried the mid and the small. And it's just a great walking around shoe. It's just comfortable. It takes care of your knees. So when I find things that work, I either wear them till they fall apart and then I buy another one of them. This falls into that category. That's the Columbia Fairbanks. And that's in a low, mid, or high.
Two things.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that you wore these when snowmobiling in Montana?
Oh, absolutely. And a matter of fact, I felt great when if you recall, they gave us boots, but I was like, no, I don't need your boots. I got my boots. And it was actually a good decision, right? It worked out. The second time we went to Montana, I changed the game and went with a muck boot solution that worked well as well. But yes,
Well,
short answer, Montana approved.
It's a different kind of cold out there when you're going 65 miles an hour on a snowmobile. And so that right there is endorsement for the shoe. I didn't realize that you had worn those in Montana. That's quite a testament. Here's the other thing. Am I reading this correctly, that this is a $65 boot? So they're on clearance, this particular colorway is on clearance. But at the top end, brand new model, they're $130, right?
And you can find them all day in the $60 to $85 range, depending on which model you're looking for in colorway. Some colorways are a little more popular than others. You might have to pay closer to that full retail, but all day, great value buy.
Well,
and not to mention, if you're looking up the specs, waterproof boot.
Yeah.
So when you go top end, the tall boy, waterproof and insulated. The middle boy is just waterproof, and then the cruiser has waterproof, but there's more venting. I wouldn't trust it.
Okay.
But yeah, good boot.
All right. Good recommendation. I think that wraps it up for this episode. You've been listening to the Rank Amateur Podcast. I'm John. My co-host is Ben. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach us at rankamateurpod@gmail.com. You can find photos related to these conversations on our Instagram account @rankamateurpod. And as always, we'd like to thank the great team at Hop Passport for their support of this show. Until next time.